don't think I've ever seen a scene be so dramatic over food, over specifically an egg sandwich or a somewhat crappy egg sandwich, but so much passion over the egg sandwich. But you felt her pain. You did. You felt how annoyed she was by it.
But come on, it's food. Food is important.
It is.
Food is life.
Very true, but she's also, running for her life. And all of a sudden, she's more concerned with food.
I can understand her because food is always food. It's like, don't kill the dog because it's a dog. It's,
Yeah.
it's too important.
I feel like we're missing something.
What?
Don't these things work best if, you start from the beginning?
Oh, yeah. I think people should know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think I might want to restart that.
Okay.
So, hello, gentle listeners, and welcome to our second episode of Prima Nerd Podcast. My name is Nisa, and I am joined by my fantabulous co-host and cousin, Bella.
Hello, everybody.
And we are going to be talking about Birds of Prey, the one and the Let me try that again, shall we? Let me see if I can say words clearly. Birds of Prey and the Fantabulous Emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Talk about long title.
A freaking long name.
So I have two thoughts on this. One, it feels like it should be a Fall Out Boy title for a song because those are long. And two, there's a reason behind the name of the title, and that is the writer, Christina Houghton, and Margot Robbie, who plays Harley Quinn, but is also executive producer on this project, wanted basically a name that kind of, because they got tired of having to explain and pitch this movie over and over again, so they decided to put a title that kind of just explains what it is in the title, so that they don't have to keep explaining it. And it was done as a joke, and then it ended up being the actual title of the movie. So,
they put a sentence on the name of the movie.
Yeah. It's a creative name, but it's just long. So it becomes one of those things that you have the official name, but you just call it by its nickname. Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't really.
I think fits the movie because fits Harley Quinn. It's very her, a very long name and kind of confused, not straight to the point. But it's not a good name for marketing because it's very long, and the name of the main character and all the most known character of the movie is in the end. So you're in the theater, and there is a lot of movies. This one doesn't show up because it's too long, so it can be a problem.
Maybe. You never know. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not, it's very unique, which also again makes it stand out and everything like that. But you're right, it is a very long name, and it's also not long and easy words. It's fantabulous and emancipation. Those are not words you normally hear. And the word fantabulous, the writer thought that she was inventing a word, but it's actually a real word that she didn't realize.
Really?
It is a real word. Yeah, I've heard it said as fantabulous, but I didn't think it was. No, it's actual word. So that was fun.
Really? I will look in Portuguese if these words exist in Portuguese.
That'd be interesting to know if it exists in Portuguese.
Oh, because in Portuguese, fantabulosa, and looks like a made-up word, just like in English.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't really feel like it's an actual word, but it actually is.
I have to look this up.
So what do you think of the movie?
Well, I really liked the movie.
Me too.
I didn't think that I would like because of Suicide Squad. Because Suicide Squad was something it's supposed to be one thing, then they change the director and go to other way, and you can see this. So it's confused and
yeah,
doesn't get anywhere.
It's not the
no, it's terrible.
You know that they're making another one, right? They're making another Suicide Squad.
The second one.
I don't know, but they're also like recast. They're changing it up a little bit. I think they're like trying. I think they're trying to do what they did with Aquaman. It's kind of revamp it so that way it doesn't have.
Okay. Well, I like some actors. I like some stories, but in general, it's a strange movie. Yeah, it's a mess. Is the word. But Harley Quinn, it's like it's other movie, like completely different. You barely can say it's
continuation.
It's
continuation.
Yeah, exactly. It's hardly you can say that.
Yeah,
same word.
It's in the same, but it's kind of what they sort of did with Aquaman, or it's in the same world, but they're trying to pretend like it doesn't really quite exist. Kind of there, but not.
Yes.
So I agree with you. I did like this movie. I actually didn't. I knew, I guess, from the moment I heard that they were doing this, I already knew that I was gonna like it because they were already moving in a different direction. That Margot Robbie wanted to produce it with her company, Lucky Chap Productions, which is, and she's the one who pitched it to Warner Brothers, and she was fighting for it to have an R rating. She wanted a diverse cast. She wanted an all-female cast. She also wanted female writer, female director, female led. So she was really fighting for that. And she also was fighting for an R rating, but it wasn't until, and Deadpool hadn't come out yet when she was pitching this. So they're like, no, you can't do that, especially you can't do that as a superhero movie. You can't especially do that with women. And then Deadpool came out, and that opened the doors for them to be able to do an R-rated movie, which I think is really genius, because I don't think this movie would have worked if it didn't have an R rating. I don't think it's the same thing with Deadpool. You can make it, but it won't work as well because the characters need more freedom to be able to do stuff, and when you limit it, it kind of takes away from what makes the character the character.
I agree. It's true. But I don't know. Like they have some. It's not so intense as Deadpool.
No.
So I think it's basically because of the cocaine scene.
Yeah, and it's not that. And also cursing. But it wasn't that. It was mainly they weren't going to try to make it overly grotesque or anything like that, but they wanted an R rating to give the freedom to do more. So they can have cursing. Because when you do a PG or PG-13, how much blood can you show? How much this can you show? You can't. So they had like the fight scenes couldn't be what they wanted it to be. And it doesn't go overly graphic, but I wouldn't, for example, when she jumps on the guy's leg and breaks it in the club, so maybe they wouldn't have been able to do that when she breaks the guy's leg when they're fighting. Those things probably would have had to been changed and choreographed differently or whatnot because.
No, I see I see the reasons, and
but it wasn't. They weren't trying to make it overly.
Yeah. You said about the blood. And what came to my mind was that wasn't a lot of blood, but they really like to break legs.
Yep.
Did you pay attention on this? Like a lot of broken legs.
Yeah, that was. But yeah, I think
no broken arms or broken, like it's legs, especially legs.
Yeah. But it's also an interesting, I guess but it also fits the character, right? Like it's I think this is also the first it's the first female like superhero movie with more than one woman, right? Because you have Wonder Woman, but she's the sole main character, and then you have all of them. And this is also R-rated, which is not what Wonder Woman is. But I don't know why they had a fascination with breaking legs. Is it something to do with it being kind of cartoonish or like
funny?
Maybe
they like way? Tarantino likes
Yeah, there's all that could
Maybe
also
they
have
like
been an inspiration.
legs.
That could have been
Maybe
an
they like
inspiration.
legs.
Who knows?
Maybe
Yeah.
it can be.
But it was interesting.
That is
I also,
funny.
but I love the beginning of the movie where she like tells the story from the beginning, and it's all in cartoons, and you see like that she uh, basically already establishing why she has bad relationships with men, starting with her dad, like abandoning her, and then like you see it go from there. And that she already had this streak of not liking authority because she rebelled against the nuns and all that stuff. And then she meets Mr. J, as she loves to call him, which I think is funny. But
I prefer pudding.
Pudding?
Pudding. Pudding.
No, you don't pronounce the G. It's pudding. Don't pronounce the G.
Pudding.
So it's, but I love the fact that you see, and also like the fact that she summarized the movie a little bit, like, oh, and this is where we're at right now. We broke up. I took it rather well, and you see that that's not true at all. What she's saying and what's actually happening, and so that was funny. And then so she adopts a hyena, which I thought was funny, which is actually true to the comics. She does actually own two pet. But in the cartoon, she owns two pet hyenas named Bud and Lou, which is named after Abbott and Costello, the famous comedic duo. So that's why she calls them Bud and Lou. And the reason why the hyena was CGI'd is because when they went to go research about having a hyena, they realized that hyenas are way too dangerous to be around people because they cannot be trained. They cannot be trained. They're not trainable. So it was too dangerous to have them out. So what they used was a really big dog and then CGI the dog.
Well, who can imagine this? Oh,
I mean, but you have people use lions and tigers and bears. Oh my, that was not intentional reference, but it happened. But you've seen bears, you've seen lions, you've seen like snakes and all these other animals, but not a hyena. Hyena is not
hyena. No, I love the name of the hyena.
Bruce.
I love this.
And that she names it after Bruce Wayne.
I love this.
I did too. And all the fact that, as far as I understand it, she's probably not a fan of Batman, but she doesn't know that Batman and Bruce Wayne are the same person.
Maybe.
I don't know. I don't think that's a status, but I think, who knows? I don't know. But it sounds like she doesn't know that they're the same person.
Yeah, maybe. But she's kind of crazy, so makes sense to, oh, he's hot, I like her, I like him and everything, but he's my enemy. But like,
I mean, it kind of fits
something confused.
Yeah, it kind of fits her personality, right? Because her name itself is an extension of her moniker, Harley Quinn, is an extension of a classic Camilla Dell'Arte character, which is an Italian, translate or Italian comedy, which is a type of theater that's from like 16th to the 18th century. And they wore masks for different characters. And one of the most famous ones, and she also says this in the movie too, is the Harlequin, which is the comedic servant. And they're supposed to be nimble and agile, and they attempt to recognize their own plan and schemes, even though while they're supporting their master. So I think I've seen this in the cartoons too, where like she does everything, she does what Mr. J or the Joker wants her to do, but she kind of also follows her own plan. So it's kind of like, which is why she always gets in trouble with him, is because she does kind of a bit of both. And she also wields a bacchetto. The Harlequin wields a bacchetto, which if you look at what it looks like an old-fashioned bat, which is probably where the mallet and the bat idea came from. And she wears a diamond pattern. Yeah. And she wears a diamond, and if you see, she has a tattoo of a diamond pattern. The last outfit she wears is diamond. It's a gold diamond patterned costume. So it's very much, and she also talks about what a Harlequin is, which is their job is to serve. They're nothing without their masters, which is supposedly what the Harlequin is supposed to be. Also, fun fact, Harlequins are also a series of romance novels. It's the name of a series of romance novels, which I also thought was funny. There's also that too. So so there's a lot of like You know, there's a lot of references to like little things that create the character of Harley Quinn, like references to Camille d'Arte, and which translates as to communication, art of communication, technically is what it is.
There is one thing that is interesting about her character, because the first appearance of Harley Quinn was in the animation of Batman in 92, and then people like her so much, and they put her on the comics and became part of the world, like officially and everything. And this is really, really, really difficult to happen. Like, it's the common is the comic gets so famous that became movies and animations and everything, on the TV. And she went the opposite way. And so this shows how strong her character is. Like, everybody likes her, and probably the reason that now she has a movie just for her.
Yeah, I mean, she's a great character, and she's a perfect example. No, she's hilarious. She has a very much that feel of Deadpool, right, where she's aware that she's the one telling the story, that she introduces people. And then I also love the fact that she also throws in that she used to be a psychiatrist. She throws in like jargon every once in a while when she explains things. So she's very self-aware. Like when Cassandra gets mad at her, she goes, "I'm not a very good person." Like, she's very self-aware of who she is, which is also an interesting thing.
I think this is what they should have done since Suicide Squad. Yeah. Because she is intelligent, she is smart, she is a doctor, like a graduated doctor. So I like they did this now, but she should have done this since the beginning. It's interesting to see this, like see the way she's still aware of what's happening and what she learned. I like this. It's really, really interesting.
Yeah, but it also goes to show the difference between it being a female-driven movie versus her character being designed for the male gaze. The biggest example is her costume in Suicide Squad versus her costume in this movie. In Suicide Squad, she's basically running around in underwear and massively high heels.
What?
Like stiletto heels, not even like platform, like chunky heels, stiletto heels, right? And she's wearing that massive choker that says Puddin'.
That's
and
terrible.
So it very much shows that she's not her own person, but she was also designed for the male gaze, which is also something you see of the Amazons in like Justice League. They're wearing like really short clothing, but when you saw Wonder Woman, that's not what they were wearing. They were wearing armor, completely covering themselves. Their legs are out because they need to fight, but you see them wearing like bikinis and whatnot. But who directed the first movie was directed by a woman. The second one was not. The Justice League was not directed by a woman. And you see the difference in, and that's very much shown here where the women, their costumes are designed for practicality. They're not wearing massively high heels for no reason, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not wearing like clothing that maybe they feel comfortable in or they're sexy and they're not trying to cover themselves up. But like, for example, most of the time you see Harley wearing short shorts and a bralette basically running around, but it still doesn't have that sexual feeling that's geared towards making her look hot for men. It's like, this is how she feels comfortable dressing. This is how she wants to express herself, how she wants to dress, not
for someone.
We need to make her appealing for men to find her attractive. That was not the intent in the designs of these costumes for any of them.
It's very true. It's very
and I thought that was great. I mean, there are some people who have problems with it. I think most of them are men.
Well, but they heard about all the complaints about this in Suicide Squad. So they will be very dumb if they don't fix this in
But
this
it's
movie.
not, I don't think it was something that they even were going to do anyway. Again, it was female written movie, female directed,
but
and
maybe
female
it's the
produced.
two things, you know, like the complaining and the a new view about this.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, but when once you already have women writers and producers, women all strong female led cast, and women directed, you have all the elements to kind of already fix the issues that made them overly sexualized.
Yeah, I know,
Because
but
so it's already automatic because of the fact that you have women directing it, women pushing it forward. That already in itself is going to fix all those issues.
yeah.
Because that's probably one of the reasons what they wanted to change from Suicide Squad. It's one of those things because they themselves are women who are creating this.
Well, and kind of talking about this as well. I like the diversity.
Me too.
Like we have like a lot of different women, a different personalities and races, and the cop, the Renee
Montoya.
Renee Montoya is lesbian or bi.
Apparently she's the first. She's the first lesbian character, DC, like the first.
Yeah, and this is like really, really good. They have like black and Chinese and white people, and
Latina,
and oh my god, the personality. It's like each one has his own way to deal with things, with the situations, and to think about everything.
Different ages,
and this
too.
is and it's amazing to see the interaction between them. Differently from like Black Widow, that is very strong and has a very strong personality, but it's the only woman in the man group. So
she's the only
there's no diversity.
Avenger. Yeah, that's true. So I actually thought that was interesting that she was the first lesbian character, because I thought it was Batwoman, but that was the first one. But then I realized Batwoman technically wasn't written as a lesbian until later on. Like she was rewritten. She was written into the story, and then she was rewritten as a lesbian, as the first outed or first gay superhero, I think, for DC was her. And then you have but then I think Montoya is the first character, but she also does become her own superhero. I think she's supposed to be the Question is her name, is named her moniker. And but she actually is a love interest for Batwoman. So there's also that apparently in the comics. That's cool.
That's nice. Yeah.
But also like how they mention that she is without it being a focal point. Like, by the way, that is the guy who stole her job. The chief took credit for something she did, right? And he becomes the captain. And that's her ex, which is the DA. So I thought that was an interesting, like, well, they just mentioned it and they don't make it a big deal, but you basically see how each one of these characters are flawed in their own ways, right? None of them are perfect. None of them, they're all strong and they're all flawed, and they all are basically well-rounded human beings. Montoya is dealing with the fact that she has to, live in a world that's full of men telling, basically taking credit for what she's doing, and her partner not taking her seriously, and her having to explain things, and no one basically giving her any credit for her believing something.
Yeah, but this is a point of the movie, like to show the problems of the woman, like a lot of problems that we face in the life, like we're in jobs that the man takes the credit or you're not take seriously. And there is the scene where Harley Quinn is drunk and there's a man that tries to
take advantage of her. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And other things on the movie, but shows like we women, when we watch this, we can say like, yes, this can happen like anytime.
Yeah.
It's very, very real, these problems.
Yeah. It's also something that Ewan McGregor, who played Black Mask, Roman Sinus, he actually said that that's one of the things that he really liked about the movie, about made him proud about being involved when it was showing the misogyny that women face, but not just like the big ones. Like he plays one of the biggest characters who is very obvious and bluntly misogynistic towards every single woman you see and interact with. But then you see the little things that happen throughout the movie that all women go through, or all the little things that you see happen around them. So that's one thing that he said that he really liked about the movie, was being able to be a part of a story that tells that, because he felt that maybe it would help men kind of see the things that they do without realizing it. You kind of see it, and that's one of the reasons why he really wanted to be a part of the movie, besides the fact that the character was interesting and it's a good movie. But that was an interesting. I like the fact that him as a man, as one of the male leads, is saying the reasons why he wanted to be involved in this was for this, and I thought that was really cool to show that what his reasons for supporting the movie. Speaking of Ewan McGregor, I loved how it took me a little bit too long to realize this, that the scene is one of my favorite scenes. It's the scene where she's basically being interrogated and beaten up by Zaz. And she goes off into this like she goes off into her own world, and we hear the Marilyn Monroe, her singing a Marilyn Monroe song, "Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend." One, I like that because it shows her kind of exiting her body and kind of trying to find a way to like kind of protect herself from that situation, is her kind of going into this musical number. There's two things about that. One, I love the fact that there's three. So I love the fact that she's wearing a pantsuit. She took which is because this song is from the movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Diamonds Are Girls' Best Friends, from the movie Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and it's a Marilyn Monroe movie. And one of the things about this movie is that Marilyn Monroe is the main character, right?
Yes.
And the other actress in the movie who plays her best friend is Jane Russell. Got paid more than she did because Marilyn Monroe is a blonde, Jane Russell is a brunette.
Yeah. Come on, really?
So that was years ago. But the other thing,
this is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. But I think maybe I don't know if that was that influenced the choice of picking that song. But the other thing I thought was interesting about this song, and this makes me sad that it took me so long to realize it, is that this song is from Moulin Rouge. It's one of the songs from Moulin Rouge. And who started Moulin Rouge? Who played the male lead in Moulin? Ewan McGregor. And I'm like, McGregor. No. And he's in the dance number with her, and I'm like, oh my god, how did I not put this together? And I'm watching it.
True. Yeah. I didn't realize as well. Like,
I realized that I'm like watching it, I'm like, oh damn, I completely forgot. Ewan McGregor.
And Margot Robbie is Australian as well.
Yeah.
Like
no, Ewan McGregor is Scottish.
No. Margot Robbie
is Australian. Yes,
just like I forgot the name of her.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very very Moulin Rouge.
Well, I mean, the Australian not so much. The interesting thing is the fact that it's literally a song from the movie. It's a performance, and he's performing it with her. And somehow my brain completely overlooks that fact. As I'm watching this, I'm like, oh, right. Whoops. So I like that. And I also like the scene too, when she walks into, before that, let me rewind. Again, I feel like, and this is a great point to say this. This movie is perfect for us because it's exactly how we speak, with her starting to tell a story, then having to go back and explain it. Wait, there's something else I want to talk about first. That sounds very much like a conversation with us, which is probably what, I hope listeners will enjoy, because that's something we do. This movie is very much how conversations between us go.
So if someone understands the movie, they will understand our podcast.
They will appreciate our podcast more if they like the movie. So there's the. So I'm trying to remember what I wanted to say because I completely lost my train of thought. No, so one of the things I love is I want to go back to this because it's kind of exactly what happens. I loved how Montoya is introduced in the crime scene when she explains how the crime scene
the scene was
played out.
Really, yeah, it's the camera, the way the camera goes around the scene and changes and show the past and the present was
the
really
coloring,
good.
The lighting too was great. The lighting between when Montoya is speaking between verses when we see the crossbow killer as she's introduced in that scene. Technically it's the huntress, but we don't know that yet. In that scene is you have a warmer light when it's the huntress, and then it goes back to that like darker tinted blue light when it's Montoya telling how the scene unfolded. So that was fun to see the difference in how like it would show her and then you would flip it so that way you saw what Montoya might be seeing, which is she's standing next to the victim and she goes, and this is how it happened. It's all about this guy, and she stands right next to him, and you see it goes. The camera pans as if to see her point of view of the huntress going to shoot him with the arrow, and then you see it from huntress's view too of her killing the guy. But it's very well done, and the color to the lighting, so that way, the lighting changes so that way you know which one is which. Aside from the fact that you see it happening and then you see all the dead bodies, that also helps too.
I like this scene as well. But my favorite scene was the precinct, when Harley Quinn goes into the precinct and starts shooting glitter, and like it's very, very, very funny. I saw in the
also
internet,
a reference to Bugs Bunny.
Bugs Bunny, yeah, it's true.
When she comes in her disguise, it's a reference to Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. And in the internet, I saw people saying that maybe, like in the movie Joker, things happen just in his head. Maybe the glitter and the colors was in Harley Quinn head, but I think I don't agree with this.
No, I think it's actually
for me, it's very her to have a glitter gun, like
is it glitter or is it
it's very believable, this like I can enter the precinct with a glitter gun, so I would do this and just go and do. And I think
it's more of a confetti cannon.
No, but there is glitter, there is confetti, there is smoke, like colored smoke. That is all the things you can imagine there. And I think this is my favorite scene. This is my favorite scene from the whole movie.
I do like that scene.
There is a fact that bothers me just a little bit when I started to think about the scene. It's that they are very dumb cops.
They all keep waiting for her to attack them.
Yeah, they did nothing, just stares at her. Yeah. Like, come on. Where's the guns?
Yep. There's also the fact too that I love that in that scene when she asks them where can I find the girl, wherever it is that she says exactly, and then she hits them with the confetti cannon and everything like that, and then she steals the security pass so that way she can enter the place, and she walks past a wanted post and she goes, "Hey, I know that guy. That's supposed to be Captain Boomerang from Suicide Squad."
I was wondering who was he because I didn't recognize. Oh, thank you. And well, I this scene was like my favorite.
Okay, one of my favorite things about Captain Boomerang is two things. So in Suicide Squad, he is played by Jai Courtney, which is an Australian actor. Makes sense. And then he is played by another actor, Nick. I forgot his last name. The point is that the actor who plays him in Flash and Arrow has worked with Jai Courtney on Spartacus. So
Okay.
and a lot of actors from Spartacus have guest starred as villains or good guys on Arrow. But I just love the fact that they are both from Arrow and from Spartacus, and they both end up playing the same character. I thought that was funny. Although one has an Australian accent to have the name Captain Boomerang, which is what he's supposed to be, and then the other one doesn't in Arrow, just doesn't have, in the Arrowverse doesn't. And I'm like, I'm confused, but okay, not gonna really focus on that. But I love that scene in the jail. I agree with you. I do love it. My favorite part is this fight when she walks into the to save Cassandra, and all
with the water.
Yeah, with the water, all the doors open. And again, it's that same question of why don't they all attack her at once? They literally take turns attacking her. I mean, it makes for a really cool fight scene to like it
was amazing to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, that they had a problem with it.
Yeah, and I also had that like I want to say kind of like 300 style where the camera slows down and then speeds up again, which I think which was cool, like when she does that flip where she like flips the guy over, like she does a flip and then she ends up throwing the guy on the ground, and it slows down as she flips. So I thought that was very well.
And I was like, whoa, yes.
Yeah, and then there's also a moment where she's about to do a dance move where she like basically like spins her leg around to close the door and then jumps in the air and falls on the guy's arms and like throws him to the ground. It looked very much like, oh, a pretty dance move. It was very well done. I like that moment. But my favorite is actually in the warehouse when she chases Cassandra into the warehouse, and her glee at finding the bat, had that metal bat. So the jail, and they go into a warehouse where all the evidence is, and she's like looking for, and she's like, and that's when the mercenaries appear, and she goes, "Who are these guys?" And then they have her and the kid have to run.
Yeah, and these guys again, they have guns, and they don't use, and they get too close to her. Like, I love the scene, really. I love the scene. It's my favorite scene, but I can see like, why, like they have guns. It's just shoot at her.
Yeah, but I do love two points I really liked about that scene. Was one, is her glee at finding the bat, and then her using the bat to attack the guys. And the one of my favorite ones, when she throws it on the ground, it like bounces off the ground, hits the guy. I thought that was really cool.
Yes, was really cool. Yes.
And then the other thing is when the guy is strangling her, and she asks Cassandra for help, and Cassandra hands her a lighter. And I go, well, that's a good reason never to have a beard, or, to carry a lighter just in case you're attacked.
But yeah, it's true.
So I thought that was great.
That was my favorite scene. Really. Yeah. It's amazing. That scene and the glitter. I love the glitter. And I love the scene and love the fight. It's better than the last fight with like everybody. I don't know. What? The last fight is not so. I don't know.
I loved the end of the movie. I loved that scene. I thought that was a really cool scene with all of them fighting together in unison. I thought that was really well done.
It was cool. It was well done, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. The precinct fight for me was more like, yes, this is really cool and different. Like, it's very, very different, because I think it's like other ways to fight, like not so usual, like with a bat, with glitter, with like other things, like with like she improvises that, and I think I liked it because of this. And the last scene was more common, like the fight and they punch, and like it's more, I think it's more normal than the other one, more common. Okay.
I mean, I thought that it was a great scene, but I guess it could be described as common. I didn't think it was. I thought that it was a well-oiled machine of showing how the camera moving around and making sure to catch everyone, the fact that they're all trying to simultaneously fight and also protect Cassandra, and they're using whatever they have. They're using the actual carnival. Huntress is jumping on the that looks like tongues, and she's bouncing off of them and able to attack everyone. You also have Black Canary on the seesaw. Then there's one moment where she realizes she's on a seesaw and she goes, oh, and they continue to fight. And then you see them use the hands as a way to like pull it back and like slap and hit the guys with it. Yeah. And they're running around, and all these things are happening all at once. And there's all these moving parts. And apparently that was also a really difficult scene to film. It took several days to film, even though it looks amazing.
I can see.
They had several days to practice it and learn it. But when it came down to it, the set wasn't built yet. So that filming it was very difficult. And it was also done in one shot.
It's a complex scene.
Yeah. And but not only that, it's a continuous shot. It's shot in one. So when someone messed up, do this. They had to go back. They had to go back and redo it because it had to be filmed all at once.
I like this kind of continuations without breaking, without changing. I like this. I like scenes like this.
Yeah, and this one was definitely a great. And I think that's one of the reasons why I really liked it. Is because the momentum just doesn't stop. It moves around, and I love the moment too where she comes out. They're wearing roller skates, and I literally went, when did she change shoes? 2 seconds later. When the fuck did she have time to do a shoe change? And I'm like, yep, my sentiments exactly. Just literally asked that question because exactly what I felt. Because I'm like, and I also love the song Barracuda playing in the background too for the scene.
I like that they it's kind of, they know people will think like you, and they put this on the movie. You know,
there's also another moment
it's obvious, so let's put on the movie. Like, also it's funny.
The other thing I like too is the hair tie. When Black Canary is like getting so annoyed, and then you just see Harley just hand her a hair tie. And I like that, and they did that on purpose because, as Margot Robbie said in an interview, she's like, no one can actually do a fight scene with their hair down. And I like that was put in the movie. Also, you see Montoya tie her hair back too when they're going to go get ready to fight. She ties her hair back too.
I was about to say this because it's something that annoys me, because I know how it is to have a long hair, and I know how this get on the way in this terrible. So it's really cool. Annoying. This they put this like a normal and common problem for like woman, and woman has long hair, obviously.
Yeah, because countries just tie your hair back.
It's so like, oh, I can see if it's me fighting, I will need a hairband.
Yeah, I mean, a hair tie. I never, for example, when I was doing ballroom dancing, I always tied my hair back to do it, like in a bun, because I didn't like my hair in my face when I was dancing, because it's doing spins and getting in your way. And this is just dancing. So I can imagine in a fight, you would not want your hair down. But I like the fact that was added in, like she wants to tie, and you also see her tie her hair back. So it's like, yes, it's a thing that needs to happen. And also they're not wearing like massive heels, which I thought was very well done.
Every time you talk about high heels, I remember about Jurassic World and that woman running around with the high heels.
That was stupid, but at the same time, it's like, well, she was supposed to be in an office, and I mean, costume wise, they could have decided not to give her those massive heels, but
exactly.
That would have been a better idea, considering the fact that probably majority of the time the actress herself is running around in flats and then has to put on the heels when her feet are going to appear on screen. Because you see that a lot too. Like for example, in Transformers, the last one with Shia LaBeouf, his model girlfriend, like when you see her, she's always wearing high heels. But when you there's a scene like when she's like sliding down a building or whatever it is that they're like trying to escape. If you look at her feet, she's wearing flats, and then you see the heels, and then you see the flats. So so when they're doing the action sequence, they put her in flats because realistically, no one can be doing those in heels, and she doesn't also have to be wearing those high heels. But again, movie probably designed for the male gaze, hence why she has to be wearing high heels.
Yeah.
And in this one, you don't see that. And like you make comments, like I think in the last scene where all of them are together eating at the Mexican restaurant, Huntress says, I love how you can do those high kicks in those really, really tight pants. To, I think, to Canary. But like the costumes are all designed to be, I loved all the costumes. I thought they were all in a way very sexy, very, very beautiful costumes, but they were also practical. They also added, they asked for them to wear costumes that gave them room to move and be able to do these things. Mobility and not being able to be like, just look pretty. So I thought that was a great thing that they did too, that they made sure to be like, oh, we're gonna have to, you know, make sure the costumes work for the actors, not just the not just for they don't look pretty on screen, but they're actually practical to actually move around in. And I love that. And I love the fact that there was more realism in, like I said, like the hair tie, the not wearing super high heels, the joke about when does she have time to do a shoe change, which is still one of my favorite moments, because I literally went, what? Because I forgot for a second that she was carrying those skates, but still, when did she have time to put them on and tie them?
It's a mystery.
But it also very much speaks to Harley Quinn. Yeah.
But yeah, being Harley Quinn, it's kind of normal. She just, it's okay. There's no one like with fighting with me, foot and comebacks. Like I can totally see this, like she being off the fight, like totally off the fight. I can totally buy this.
Yeah, it was a really well done moment. And again, I think that this movie does a very good job of being on brand in the perfect tone for who Harley Quinn is. It does, which is something I think, aside from one, I'm not going to talk. I can't really say about Joker, because one, I don't think I'll ever be able to watch that movie because I don't like clowns.
You didn't watch Joker?
No, I'm terrified of clowns. I watched their musical number in the Oscars and I'm like, I can't watch this movie. I'm kind of disturbed by the fact that there's too many clowns on stage. So probably won't be able to watch Joker. I'm aware that it's a great movie. I wanted to see it.
And Joaquin Phoenix totally deserved the Oscar.
Joaquin Phoenix?
Joaquin, yeah. Sorry, in Portuguese is Joaquin. Sorry. So Joaquin Phoenix totally deserved the best.
I don't doubt it. I want to see the movie, and it wasn't the violence. Everyone said it's a super violent movie. I'm like, I think I can handle the violence. I don't think I can handle that much violence.
It's not really the physical. It's not really I think the point of Joker is not really the physical violence, because there is a lot of movies that have this, but I think it's the psychological I can't say this.
If you tell me what it is in Portuguese, I might be able to help you. I don't know where you're going.
It can be a psychological violence of the movie. Like you get really uncomfortable watching the movie.
I think that was one of the point of the movie was to do that on purpose. Yeah, and it's very weird for a superhero.
And this is why I love this movie. And it's also amazing.
Which is also probably the whole point of the movie, was to kind of tackle something that you wouldn't normally expect to see in I'm going to put this in air quotes, but technically Joker is not a superhero. He's technically in comic book terms is a villain, but but that's the point of the movie, was to kind of break away from what you expect from these styles of movie, that they can do more than what you think, that they're not just overly stylized, that they're not just one tone, that they can have more meaning, because the whole point of why they weren't written just to be sometimes there's a deeper meaning behind them, why they were written, what they're trying to tell. These stories are not just for entertainment, there's more behind them. And I love that they did that. I just don't know if me, as someone who does not like clowns, can bring myself to watch it.
I can understand you, but I think the great idea behind Joker was the critique to criticize the society
Yeah.
you know.
And that
And
was important.
they took a character that doesn't have official story, like background.
Yeah, that's true.
Like in the comics, he has a lot of stories to tell how he became the Joker,
His
and none of
origins.
them it's more important than the other or more official than the other. So it's very open, and so they choose this character that is very open and put with this idea to criticize the society, like our society, not Gotham, and like it was perfect.
Yeah, I agree, and it's something that I want to watch. I just don't know when I'll be able to watch it because I
I
don't.
can
Like I
watch with
see
you, and I hold your hand, okay?
virtually because we live in two different countries.
Maybe one day we visit each other and we can watch.
God knows what that will be, but yes, that could work. I mean, like I said, I might end up watching it, but like when they show snippets of like I think it's him sitting on the subway laughing, wearing the whole clown makeup. I've seen snippets of that, and I watch and I go, can't look at the screen. I can't do it for too long. This is freaking me out. And I know that, but that's why like it's I want to watch it, but I don't want to be overly like because
I understand you. I understand you.
But I do want to watch it. I just don't know when that's going to be because I haven't braced myself enough to be able to watch it yet. So okay. We'll see. Eventually I'll get there. But so, and I think so speaking of that, like we're like of like Joker doing something different and criticizing, this movie does that in its own way too. It's a little bit not as dark, not as heavy, but again, it's criticizing.
I think it's not so profound.
Not so profound,
Joker, but yeah, there is there.
It is there. It's one of the things is diversity. It's showing a diverse cast. You saw Montoya is Latina. You have Diana Lance Black. You have, and then you have the girl's Asian. Cassandra Cain is Asian, and then you have, of course, in the movie itself, various other people. It's not just one focused thing, which I thought was very well done. Like again, diverse cast, which is something you don't see which you're starting to realize that people are becoming more aware of when the movie isn't diverse. So they're trying to they have to be more conscious of that. But it's also, again, it's also showing, oh, you think that women can't lead a movie? Well, here you go. We had Wonder Woman. We have now Harley Quinn, the Birds of Prey,
and we have Captain Marvel as well.
I was gonna say, although who seems to be behind in doing this is Marvel, because DC was the first one to launch. DC launched a female-led superhero movie before Marvel did, when Marvel already had established Black Widow as an Avenger, as a character, and they still didn't use it. And then you had Captain Marvel how many years later?
Yeah, but I think the movie of Black Widow, it's supposed to have been done years ago.
It should have been done years ago.
Yeah, she's there like since Iron Man 2. Yeah, and she doesn't have a movie for her own.
Nope.
Until now, like that's like for December 2020, after 20 movies.
I think it's gonna be 21 now. It's gonna be coming out in 21 now. It's supposed to be 20, but it's gonna be 21 now. But it is very upsetting, like that Marvel dropped the ball on that one. That it's
I totally agree. But what annoys me as well about Birds of Prey, it's I think in the first weekend of showing in the theaters, they got
back in February we could go outside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, back in February.
Were you trying to say February or in Portuguese and English at the same time?
Yes, I was like like the second month of this year, like
February, but February, sure.
February.
There's a B instead of a V. That's basically
okay. So from the long time ago in other dimension,
In
before
another world, in another
coronavirus.
life,
Yeah,
in another
before
life,
coronavirus.
where we could
And
actually see, where we actually weren't afraid to be around people.
exactly. So in February of 2020, that it's
Where the
for
idea of
me,
going to a cinema wasn't
I
terrifying.
don't remember anymore how is to be outside. So okay.
Basically, being anywhere where there's a bunch of people and not finding it terrifying when that wasn't a terrifying idea.
Exactly. So they got on the first weekend $33 million.
Yep.
And comparing to
The first weekend.
The first weekend, yeah. Comparing
Because
to
domestically it
Suicide
was
Squad,
84.
that was terrible. They got $133 million in the first.
Well,
in the first.
there's a few factors in that. One,
and I got like Suicide Squad was so bad because of the problem they had that I think how can I say influence Birds of Prey, because was sold as a sequel. So people that didn't like Suicide Squad didn't went to the theaters to see Birds of Prey. So
that's one of the reasons.
I got very annoyed about this, because it's supposed to be a better movie with better numbers of selling than Suicide Squad, and it isn't.
Well, there's a few factors in Suicide Squad. One, it was geared towards men. Mm-hmm. Let's look at the costumes that the women were wearing, so it's more sexy, more attractive. Also, Will Smith is in it as well, so there's also that draw. I'm not saying it's correct, but then again, once this movie was being said that it was going to be sold, I bet you a lot of people who are a little bit more comic book purists in how they want their female characters to dress were not happy that this movie was directed by a woman. Kathy Yan was not happy that the movie was probably produced by a woman, was not happy that the movie was written by a woman, was not happy that the movie was mostly featuring women, and also maybe featuring women not wearing skimpy costumes.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of reasons that combined this.
And also COVID was about this time that it was starting to be a little bit stronger. So maybe that also was playing into the game, but I don't know. All I know is that it probably could have done better worldwide. It could have probably done better domestically if it had been able to be in theaters longer than it was.
Mm-hmm. But I was saying, like, as a woman, I wasn't like really into watch Birds of Prey because of Suicide Squad. So even the man that thinks that it's just a bunch of women and doesn't like this and this kind of silly stuff, there is this people that doesn't really care about it's a woman or a man or like, and doesn't care who is the main character, just like movies and heroes.
But the funny thing is
this problem.
But the funny thing is that the breakout character was Harley Quinn. A lot of people who didn't like Suicide Squad loved Harley Quinn, hence why the movie was even made.
But okay, I love a character, but I hate the movie. Why should I pay to watch a sequel of a movie that I think is terrible?
It's not a sequel.
But it was sold
as. It was a movie. I don't remember it being sold as a sequel.
Everybody thought it was a continuation because, like,
that's
in the beginning,
I read or saw it.
Yeah, it was. Everybody thought like, oh, it's the continuation because it's the continuation of the story of Harley Quinn. So it's a sequel. It's logical.
I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah, I remember seeing this, and I remember a lot of people saying that won't watch because of this, because they didn't like Suicide Squad. Makes sense.
I guess. Because I don't remember seeing because I guess what I was reading, what I was seeing is that it was Harley Quinn was a breakout character, so they were going to decide to make a movie based off Harley Quinn because she was the character that made the most success.
It was the motivation to do the Birds of Prey. It was the motivation. Okay. It wasn't the but in the storyline is a sequence.
Okay. I mean, but then again, this also tried to erase Suicide Squad. Like they didn't show the Joker. I guess they didn't. Jared Leto's Joker didn't do well, so they kind of slightly removed him from flashbacks and whatnot. You didn't really see him.
And I'm glad about this.
Yeah. It wasn't the best Joker, I will admit.
No.
But I don't know what they're going to do for the next one. What they're going to do when they finally decide to bring back Joker, who's going to play him, because
you have
to be careful.
At some point, I think they will have to put the Joker again in some
they have to
movie.
But but the person who is going to play Joker has big shoes to fill. You have Jack Nicholson. You have Heath Ledger, who was amazing at it. And then it
was the best Joker.
And then you also have the voice of the Joker for all the cartoons, Mark Hamill, who is brilliant as the voice of the Joker. So you have all these people who have made the character iconic. You kind of have to be careful how you recreate it, right?
Yeah, it's true.
It's very difficult. But I'm hoping that when they relaunch the second Suicide Squad, they're going to do what they kind of did with this movie and with Aquaman, which is kind of remove itself from it, because I personally was not excited. But then again, I also see your point, because I wasn't really excited to see Aquaman because I hated the portrayal of his character in Justice League. I was like, I don't know. He's a bit of a dick, but I do love Jason Momoa, but his character is a bit of a dick. And then I watched it. I'm like, no, who is this character? I actually don't mind this character. They decided to use the fact that Jason Momoa is very charming and use that to create the character.
Oh my God, that guy is.
I'm not talking. No words. The fact that he's beautiful is not what I mean. I mean, he's a charming human being. The fact that he's gorgeous is a whole.
I agree.
Obvious. It's obvious.
I agree.
So I like the fact that they took advantage of his personality, which they did not do in Justice League. And this did something that Justice League didn't do very well either, is they bring all these characters together and have great character development. Like each character is developed very well. They have, they tell their backstory. They create these really cohesive, well-rounded characters. They just don't fully are cohesive together. It feels very much like, the best way for me to describe it is like watching a Brazilian soap opera. Different stories happening all at once that somehow end up all meshing up together in the end. That's kind of what it feels like. That feel of like you tell this story and then you go over here and you tell this story and this story, and then all of a sudden they all join up together. So that's kind of what it felt like. But the characters were well developed. The story was well done, but it was not so cohesive as them together, as how it was supposedly sold as it being the story of the Birds of Prey. Because they only come together at the end. They only really interact with all of them together.
Yes. What is funny, because the name of the movie is Birds of Prey, and then in the end of the sentence, Harley Quinn, and the movie is basically the opposite. Like Harley Quinn, and in the end,
the Birds of Prey. It's setting it up.
And it's just like, it's not even like a part of the movie. It's kind of, and after they become the Birds of Prey.
Yeah, and hopefully setting up for their own movie, hopefully.
I agree.
And that is something that they did really well. Unlike Justice League, that brings in the Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman, and don't fully develop these characters. which if you look at it, I think they were trying to do what Marvel did with like the Avengers, but Marvel did it like there was a plan of like, we're going to introduce each character and we're going to introduce the worlds, and then we're building up to them all coming together. But you're going to be introduced to these characters first. I think they should have done what I think in that case, they should have done what they did for the Avengers, where they introduced each character in their own individual movie and then brought them all together. Maybe would have been better than how they did it in Justice League, because it was all like, and then, but Birds of Prey, on the other hand, did a good job of that. So maybe they didn't have to.
So the best I can say is that DC is learning.
I think if DC,
because it's getting better, the movies.
Yeah, but I think once DC stops trying to live off of what makes Marvel great and focuses on its characters and their tones and their movies and their own style, they do
because they have great TV shows.
Yeah.
So
well, at least the Arrowverse.
It's not
technically there's DC TV streaming service with a bunch of other TV shows which I have yet to see, but yes.
Yeah, but I mean the Arrowverse, and I think like they know how to do like a great job with a good story, with good characters.
Yeah.
So I think the problem is that they have to find their own language, and they are finding in the way.
Yeah, they need to find the tone of their characters and actually create a movie that actually does that, like actually stays on brand for the character and tells a story. What they did with Harley Quinn, for example, they did that very well with Harley Quinn. They did that very well with Wonder Woman, and they did that very well with Shazam, I think, and they did that very well with Aquaman.
Yeah. So I hope
Superman is where they dropped the ball and tried to make it dark and serious, like Batman. I'm like, that's not the character. That doesn't work. No.
Yeah, they have like 8 movies, right? They have 8 movies, and I think like half of them is good, half is
so it's I'm hoping that they'll learn, because they have a lot of great characters. They have a plethora of things to do, right?
I think they are learning. They are in the process, and I think like the next Wonder Woman will be good.
Me too.
I think so, and I really want to see. I'm looking forward to watch this movie.
Me too.
Yeah, so
I liked Wonder Woman. It was good. But I'm also excited to see more Harley Quinn, because I kind of came out of this wanting to watch like cartoons and all that stuff, because I forgot how much I like Harley Quinn. And Margot Robbie did an amazing job of portraying
Margot Robbie.
her.
She is amazing. She is beautiful. No, she's talent. I love her.
She's brilliant, and she brings a lot of depth to Harley Quinn. Like you see where she's very childlike, but she's also very smart. She's very self-aware, but she's also insane. And like, you know, she's also not a good person. She's not someone you mess with, because at the same moment that she likes you, she can also turn around and feed you to a hyena if she still felt like it. So I think she's a perfect example of a great anti-villain. She's still a villain, but she has those moments that kind of make her less villain-like and make you kind of root for her and want her to do well and succeed. And then
like take care of Cassandra.
Yeah. And it's always something that really annoys me when I see interviews and people call her an anti-hero. I'm like, no, anti-hero does not mean the opposite of a hero. It means the antithesis of what you expect a hero to be. Like, for example, Arrow from the TV show Arrow is an anti-hero. He's a perfect example of an anti-hero, right?
Who?
Arrow is a great example. He kills
Arrow.
people.
Oh, I was thinking about Flash. I was like, no, Flash is a hero. Like,
no, Flash is a hero.
Arrow.
Arrow.
No,
Deadpool is another great example of an anti-hero.
Yeah, I know. but I know it's because you said arrow, but in my mind there
You
is
saw
the
red instead of
flash.
green?
Yes. And then I stopped thinking, oh, okay, arrow. No, arrow is okay. Arrow is an anti-villain. Anti-hero.
And so is Deadpool. Those are the two perfect examples of an anti-hero. Right? They're both darker characters who are still heroes. They still fight for good and justice, but they do it in a less than conventional way, and they kill people, at least when Arrow first started. And then you have Harley Quinn as an anti-hero, because she kind of walks that fine line of, again, like taking care of Cassandra, helping out the birds of prey, so little things that she does that make her the perfect example of anti-villains, because you still kind of like her and want to be like, find her fascinating. So I love her as
I want to see more of her.
Yeah, I forgot what interview I saw, but someone called her an anti-villain, and I was like, thank you, someone who understands that what she is. Not an anti-hero, because it's so frustrating when I hear you call her an anti-hero, but she's not an anti-hero. That's not what anti-hero means. That's not what it means. So yeah, that's a pet peeve when you read this stuff, and I'm like, no, people, so I'm really happy that someone said it right. Oh, another fun fact that I wanted to mention, because I mentioned like the hyena thing. Do you know that hyenas are matriarchal?
Really?
Yeah, another good reason why hyenas are chosen, or a good pet for her to have.
Yeah, fits the movie.
Fits the movie. I love all these little details where they made sure that things made sense or fit into the world. Like I said, they did a very good job of staying on brand, and having the right tone for who she is. It has very much the lighting, the colors, the cinematography, but stays very true to the world of who Harley Quinn is. It's still very much rooted in like reality, right? It's not like super over the top fantastical. Yes, you have Dinah being a metahuman, but you see it's still very much rooted in reality, but then also has that feel of where Harley Quinn comes from, like a Batman, where you have the colors be a little bit darker, but also bright, and then dark, and then foggy, and there's all of these things happening at once, which is very much true to Batman, like the world of Batman, which is where she kind of comes from, which is also referenced in the movie. So that, I thought, again, I think a lot of ways this movie did a really good job. Yes. Did I absolutely adore this and think it was the best movie ever? Probably not. No. But
I prefer Wonder Woman. Like, thinking about DC, the best one for me is Wonder Woman.
I think for me,
I like this movie.
Yeah, I think
I really like this movie.
Me too. I definitely love Wonder Woman too. So like, I think definitely one of the top ones is Wonder Woman. I do think that this is a very well done movie, and I can't wait to see them do more of it. And also more with these characters. But we'll see how it goes when these things are going to be able to be done, considering the fact that we have no idea what the future holds exactly for all these things.
Everything is uncertain.
Yeah, but I want to support it, even if I don't know if I'm fully gonna like it. I still want to support it for the fact, the same thing, like, that was very important to support Black Panther, and this one is like, you need to support these movies to show these movies can sell well, so you need to have more of them. You need to have more of this type of thing. So I think it's kind of important to support it, even if it's not like, I don't know if I'm gonna like the story, but that's not the point. The point is that these movies need to be supported and talked about and shown that they're causing conversations and are being talked about, because it shows that they are marketable. They sell. And that's important going into the future, to show diversity is important. Women-led movies are important.
I totally agree.
So even if it's not the best, I still want to support this movie.
Representation, it's important.
Yes. And I think that's why I will want to support these types of things for that reason alone. Like, just to make sure that we put this stuff out more and we move in the right direction.
Yeah.
So I think that's about it.
Yeah.
For our conversation on
what?
Birds of Prey. I forgot what movie we were talking about for a second, and I'm like,
Birds of Prey.
It starts with a B.
Emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Yes.
Or
That
just
is a
Birds of Prey.
long Birds of Prey. Or you can even shorten it to POB.
POV.
Shorten it even more. Shorten it to letters. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed our second episode.
Yay.
You can follow us on Instagram at Prima Nerd Podcast. And also you can listen to this anywhere podcasts are available. It's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, several other ones that I don't remember. But also, follow us on
basically any platform.
Any platform where you can listen to podcasts. We also want to hear what you think. So if you're able to leave feedback or reviews on the platform where you listen to podcasts, if you also follow us on Instagram, let us know what you think there. And
very important for us.
And hopefully you'll stay tuned for the next episode in 2 weeks.
Yay!
Bye.
I really hope to see you next episode. In 2 weeks. Next episode.
Yeah. See in air quotes.
Yes.
See you next episode. Bye, everyone.